it's Lucy, and today you're here to watch my weekly reading vlog for the second week of the Black SFF-A-THON, the second week of Fortnite Frights, and the last week of BLACK-SFF-A-THON. Today is Tuesday. It's Tuesday evening, actually. It's around 7 p.m. I took a couple days off from vlogging. Vlogging 2 weeks straight is probably not a thing that I should do because I needed a break. And also, I planned kind of to start the vlog when I uploaded the first vlog, but I uploaded it today and I was supposed to upload it on Sunday, so I kind of got off schedule there. So yeah, but it's uploaded. You can watch the first one right now. It's in the corner. I think it's that corner or that corner, whichever corner it's in, it's there. Reading wise, so far, Sunday and Monday, you really haven't missed much. I didn't do a whole lot of reading. Monday, also known as yesterday, I did do some reading sprints on the Black SFF-A-THON Twitter, just for fun, just to see. So I did get a little bit of reading done there. So now I'm like, I think 60% done with the Jumbies. Now things are really kicking off. You know, we have the main conflict that's happening and I'm here for it. I think it's interesting and I think it'll be fun to read the rest of the way. And I also did start the other book on my TBR, Black Sun. I only have 3 books to read this week, I think. I have the Jumbies, Black Sun by Rebecca Rowan, and the short story by Nk Jemisin, which I believe is called, I keep forgetting. I probably am going to read the short story last. Well, I'm going to read the short story after I finish the Jumbies, so whenever that happens. I also started Black Sun yesterday, I think, and I'm really not far. I think I just listened to the prologue. I'm listening to the audiobook using Libro FM, which I feel like, I don't know, have I been shouting it out a lot? You tell me, but basically Libro FM is an audiobook listening service. To subscribe is $14.99 a month and you get 1 credit, and you can use that credit on any book that they have, and they have most books. So if you're looking for an audiobook service that doesn't support Amazon, I would recommend it. I am one of their influencers. So I don't know why I did quotes, that's what the program is called, but basically in exchange for that, I just get to choose from a selection of the books that they allow for influencers to choose from, and one of them, I think last month, or maybe it's this month's book, was Black Sun. And I also read the book that I read last week, When No One's Watching. That was also from them for I think September's. But also I think they're still like looking for influencers. So if you have a booktube channel, you should look into becoming one of their influencers because I think it's a great service. Anyway, I've been talking about them for too long. They did not pay me to say that. So Black Sun, I have no opinion yet. I only listened to the prologue. I also realized last week I did not do any bingo board updating, even though I'm technically taking part in 3 readathons. So I feel like I should show you guys what the bingo boards look like. So the Black SFF-A-THON bingo board, I've completed the horror book with When No One's Watching. I'm currently reading the group book, so that's not there. A Phoenix First Must Burn that I also completed last week also counts for like a lot of these challenges, as I suspected. There is LGBT plus main character, Not Set on Earth, and Love, I think, all get counted there. And that's what the Black SFF-A-THON bingo board looks like. For Fortnite Frights, I technically completed all the challenges that I was planning to complete, with A Phoenix First Must Burn also in here, because Rebecca Rowan is also in that anthology as an indigenous author. All of the authors in that anthology are Black as well, so that completes those 2 challenges, even though Black Sun is supposed to complete those 2 challenges. This would also count with written by an LGBTQ plus author, also written by a Latinx author. Honestly, if you're okay doubling up, tripling up on challenges with 1 book, definitely read a short story collection because I didn't realize how many it would fit. And I believe that's it for that bingo board. And lastly, we have the BLACK-SFF-A-THON bingo board, which I realized I actually completed my TBR for the BLACK-SFF-A-THON because I was doing the last row, which you can see next. And for that, it was a book that includes a Black witch, which was in that anthology. Attend one of the virtual live check-ins, which I did do. I attended, I think, one of the first ones earlier this month. A fantasy book by a Black author, once again, the anthology completes that. And a thriller by a Black author, which, I don't know if the anthology completes that, but also When No One Is Watching completes that. So, yeah, I'm finished with BLACK-SFF-A-THON. If I did want to get another bingo on there, I have, obviously the free space is there, a book that features Black sirens and mermaids. There is a mermaid short story in there, a historical fiction by a Black author. One of the short stories, I believe, is like historical fiction. And I think a book by a queer author. Those are all the bingo boards. Thought I'd just go over that right now. I think that's everything I have to say right now. Tucker's sleeping next to me. Also, I made these mac and cheese bites, and fun fact, I don't really like mac and cheese. So I bought these mostly because they were nostalgic. I don't know if all universities have this. I think most universities where you stay on campus have some form of this, of like late night food. It's like the greasy like stuff. And one of the things they served was mac and cheese bites, which I also didn't like then, but I saw these in the grocery store and it reminded me of them, so I bought them even though I don't like mac and cheese. And so I made them and I was reminded that I don't like mac and cheese. It is a true fact, I don't like mac and cheese. I don't know why. It surprises everyone because, you know, everyone likes mac and cheese. Not me, I don't. So there's that. Also, Tucker's sleeping next to me. He's really knocked out. So right now I think I'm gonna try and read some, so we'll see what happens. So I wanted to quickly show you guys the lamp that I was reading with in the last clip. This is the BenQ e-reading lamp. This is not a sponsored clip or segment. This video is not sponsored, but they did send me this lamp for free in exchange for reviewing / showing it in my video. It's specifically supposed to be like an e-reading lamp, so it's supposed to be made to be used with technology. So for ebooks or computers, it is technically a desk lamp. I'm using it on my bedside table because I wanted an extra light in my bedroom. I use it at night to read. So since it is a desk lamp, you are supposed to be able to use it like with your laptop, and it's supposed to help prevent glare and stuff. I like it because one, it's very bright. I think it's very bright. So that's what it looks like. My camera kind of auto adjusts. So let me see if I can turn that off. That's with the light on, and this is what the room looks like without the light on. So I feel like that shows off how bright it is. It also has a setting where it's like the correct ambient light mode, and the only thing you have to do to turn on the light to get these things to work is just touch that little ring that I was touching. See, this also controls the brightness, so you could do that, and then it lowers it. I think my camera's like auto-correcting the lightness. So yeah, this is the lowest brightness, and then this is the highest brightness. And yeah, so it's really cool. I like it. This is what it looks like. That's my nightstand with my stuff on it. That's my unmade bed. And yeah, I think it's really cool. If you're interested in a desk lamp, then the link is down below. It is kind of pricey, but if you are on your computer a lot and maybe your apartment doesn't have a lot of light, then this would be really great for you. Tucker seems to like the lamp, or at least the box it came in. Right, Tucker? Right? See? Hi, hello. I have not been great at updating you guys while I'm vlogging this week. I'm sorry about that. Honestly, there was not that much to update you guys, so you really didn't miss much. I literally haven't done anything this week. I just went to work on my computer in my house, did not leave my house, didn't do anything. I hardly read anything. I'm on, I think, chapter 5 of Black Sun right now, which I just got to chapter 5. Like, I've been listening to it a little bit today, so I just got to chapter 5. I still don't have an opinion on it. I need to finish it by tomorrow, because tomorrow is the end of this readathon. But yeah, I'm really not that far in Black Sun. I think I've just met every character that we're gonna follow so far. I'm listening to the audiobook, which I'm not sure is the greatest decision, because this is definitely like more on the epic side of fantasy, so there seem to be a lot of characters. The audiobook does come with like a PDF character map, so I should take another look at that because I'm already a little confused. But I think we've met each character, and that's all I can tell you, really, because I still don't know what's going on. The first chapter was definitely a lot. Was that the first chapter? Or the second chapter? Yeah, that was the first chapter. But the other chapters, I'm intrigued to see where it goes. I can already see kind of how a little bit is connecting. One of the characters we meet in the first chapter, I think, is going to meet another character pretty soon. So there's that. As for the Jumbies, I am literally almost done. According to the Kindle app, my Kindle, it says that I have like 20 minutes of reading time left. I just need to finish it. There's no reason that I haven't finished it. I just haven't really felt like reading this week, unfortunately, which I know is not the best mood to be in for a readathon, but I'm definitely going to finish it, definitely in time for the live show. It's almost 8 o'clock now, which is very close to my bedtime. It feels like any time after 7 is close to my bedtime, even though technically I don't go to bed until 11, and even more recently I haven't been really going to sleep till after midnight. The reason I turned this on is because I am a real booktuber and I actually have some packages to open. Can you believe it? From publishers. Like, I didn't pay for these. The publishers sent me them, so that's really cool. So I'm gonna open them for you on camera. This one is from Penguin Teen. It comes out on November 17th, and I know I requested this because Penguin Teen doesn't send arcs unsolicited, but I don't remember what it is. Basically, how Penguin Teen does their arcs is they send out a form for the season, and you say, I want this book, I don't want this book. And so I'm gonna put on the form that I wanted this book. So we'll find out what it is. It's open. Oh, just kidding. This is not from Penguin Teen. I'm an idiot. I'm not smart. This is The Water Dancer by Ta-Nehisi Coates. This is the adult imprint. What imprint is this? One World imprint. Anyway, they reached out on Instagram. I know, wild. And I did not expect anyone to reach out to me on Instagram, of all things, because that's like my least popular platform, I guess, that I have. But yeah, they reached out to me and asked if I wanted a copy because it's getting released in paperback, and I said yes. And so yes, now I have the paperback edition of The Water Dancer. I feel like you've probably already heard of this book, so I don't really need to give you any details. It's by Ta-Nehisi Coates. This is his first fiction writing. He was more well known for his nonfiction works before, his essays before, and I read one of his essay collections, We Were 8 Years in Power, which I really liked. So this is on my TBR, but I just haven't read it yet because I've heard this reads more literary, I guess. So yeah, I need to be in the right mindset and mood, and this is about slavery, so I really need to be in the right mindset and mood to read something like this. The other box that I have is from Source Books, and it's a box. I don't know why it's in a box. I'm sure I requested this because I don't, Source Books does have my address, but I don't think they send unsolicited things either. But I can't remember if I filled out a form for them or anything, so we're gonna find out together. I have scissors. While I'm opening this, look at Tucker. Oh my god, he's so cute. Look at him. Now, we can open it. That's the box. Oh shit! Sorry. It is a copy of The Bone Witch and Bedazzled. Oh, I should say author names. So I have a copy of The Bone Witch by Rin Shepeko and Bedazzled by Ryan LaSala. This comes out on January 1st. No, this comes out on January 5th. So this is like the big blurb on the back. Project Runway goes to Comic-Con in an epic queer love story about creativity, passion, and finding the courage to be your most authentic self, which sounds like a really good time to me, which is why I requested it. I am always down for a queer romance, and I actually don't read a lot of male-male romances as much as FF romances. So yeah, I wanted to try and read more. And yeah, it looks really cute. And this is The Bone Witch by Rin Shepeko. Is it already out? This is the first book in, I think it's a trilogy, I want to say. The bare bones, unexciting version of the synopsis is this is a fantasy book set in a world where people are witches. And the main character, T. Ortea, I'm not sure how I would pronounce that, is different from the other witches in her family, and she has a gift for necromancy, which makes her a bone witch. So she ends up leaving her family to go study under a much older and wiser bone witch, so she can like learn to control her powers, I think. And there's some kind of war going on with The Other Kingdoms. It's the first book in, is it a trilogy? I'll let you know. I'll edit this and tell you. So yeah, but I'm excited to have this. It's very floppy also. I think it's pretty floppy. That's so exciting. I really feel like an actual booktuber now. Publishers sending me books and I can open them in a vlog. Like, who am I? Happy Halloween! Spooky! Okay, I'll stop that. Yeah, it's Halloween, the last day of the Black SFF-A-THON. I have two things to update you guys on. First thing, the Jumbies. I finished it. I knew I was gonna finish it, but I finished it. Overall, I really enjoyed it. This is a middle grade horror fantasy kind of book about a young girl who, I don't know how old she is. Maybe she's like 12 or 13. She could be younger. I don't know. It's hard to tell. But it's about her, and she lives on this fantasy Caribbean island with her dad. And basically she has to save her island home after something called a Jumbie appears in her kitchen making dinner for her dad. I feel like that's like a intriguing synopsis, right? I don't know. Anyway, it was a fun read. It was really cute. You get to see the main character named Corinne make friends, and you get to see like the power of friendship, the power of like love and family. And there's also like a good message in there about like, it's kind of like a little bit the environment maybe, but mostly like getting along with others kind of is the big message. Might even be something about indigenous people. I don't know if that's that, but I feel like it could be read that way. I don't know. That would probably be a bad reading, because then the Jumbies would be indigenous people, and that doesn't seem right. So it's more about just getting along with others and probably treating the environment better. And yeah, I had fun reading it. It was cute. I gave it 4 stars. I knew that there was gonna be a second and third book, and I wasn't sure how this was gonna end to allow for that, but it seems like the second and third books will be like self-contained stories, just following the same characters. The Jumbies is like an umbrella term for any kind of magical creature in this world, and also in real life, because in the author's note, the author Tracey Baptiste mentions that she based it on stories that she heard growing up as a Trinidadian. I'm also currently reading Black Sun by Rebecca Rowan. I'm now 24% in. Honestly, there's no way I'm gonna finish it before the end of the readathon today. So yeah, but I just wanted to report on a funny story. I thought it was funny. Basically, for 2 chapters of the story, I was super confused because one of the characters, it seemed to me, had 2 names. I was so confused because they had one name, which I can't really remember now, but they had one name, and I could hear the character whose perspective we were reading from kept calling them by their name, but then at random times they'd be like, oh, I saw that Shay did this, but they were referring to that character whose name was not Shay. So I thought the whole time they were like calling them like 2 names, and I was so confused because I was like, is this like a Game of Thrones thing where I remember like a bunch of the characters had random other names that they just called them by these random other names for no apparent reason. They didn't seem like nicknames and they didn't seem related. That's what was happening here, but I'm very dumb. And then at one point, the perspective we were reading from said something like, oh, I could tell that Sure's meaning was different or something. And I was like, sure. Then I realized, I was like, this is a pronoun. These are pronouns. I'm so dumb. And I looked it up to make sure, and the character that she was referring to is a non-binary person who uses neo-pronouns, which I thought was really cool. If I had been reading it, it obviously would have been more obvious because I would have been able to see it. But Shay, to me, sounds like a name. So I was so confused the whole time. And the pronouns that I'll put them on the screen, but it's XE and XIR. So obviously if I had been physically reading that, I would have caught on much quicker. When I've seen pronouns starting with X, I've been pronouncing it wrong because I thought it was like Z and Zers. So I'm also learning some stuff. Now I'm gonna try and clean my bathroom and listen to more of Black Sun and maybe take a bath. I still have 1 book left on my Black SFF-A-THON TBR that I don't know if I'm gonna get to. It's the Evaluators by Nk Jemisin. It is a short story, so if I do take a bath, I probably will read it in the bathtub. But technically I did fulfill all the prompts.